As news of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki traveled the world, the public is left wondering who is responsible for this incredible act of violence. President Harry Truman will be making a public statement shortly, but first, let's take a look at what has happened. May 7th, Germany surrenders and Adolf Hitler's quest for a dominant race is ended. July 16th, Alamogordo, New Mexico, an atom bomb is detonated in an empty land. Scientists have successfully developed a weapon that harnesses the power of the sun. July 31st. The Allies present to Japan an ultimatum and demand surrender. Japan was warned that they would suffer prompt and utter destruction if they refused the ultimatum, but Japan was not to be swayed. Surrender was not something that they were ready to do. August 6th. The world's very first atom bomb is released out of the Enola Gay and onto Japan's city of Hiroshima. In a single instant, an estimated 50,000 to 80,000 men, women, and children become disintegrated. Thousands more will die from the after effects, and scientists predict many more will continue to die over the next several months and years due to complications from radiation exposure. August 9th, another bomb is dropped on Japan, and this time, the target is Nagasaki. 40,000 more civilian lives are lost instantly, and many more will follow. August 14th, Japan accepts unconditional surrender, and World War II is finally over. Now, let's hear from the president himself. The war is officially over. Americans rejoice as for the first time in 4 years, we are not involved in war. Of course, we also remember our friends and family members who were not as lucky and who did not get to join in our celebrations. There is great sorrow that comes out of war, and we will always carry our memories of tragedy to help us stay humble and thankful for all that we have. Unfortunately, to end the war, I was forced to make the hardest decision of my life. Millions of people are left wondering, why did America drop the atomic bombs? The Manhattan Project was started by President Roosevelt after scientists warned him that Germany was attempting to produce a weapon that harnessed the power of the sun. Great scientific minds came together, and America was able to produce 2 atom bombs. It was left up to me, along with the input of my cabinet members and scientific advisors, to decide whether or not the circumstances of the war justified dropping the atom bombs. The war was a nightmare. Millions of people lost their lives as war raged on among 30 countries. In July, we saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Germany had finally surrendered, and Japan was the only country left still fighting. We, the leaders of America, Great Britain, and China, gave Japan an ultimatum. We warned the Japanese leaders that unless they surrendered, they would face destruction. Unfortunately, Japan refused to surrender. We had threatened destruction, but now a decision had to be made. Was dropping the atom bomb the only option? One of our options to stop the war was to continue sending ground invasions of American soldiers into Japan. However, during past invasions, about a third of every soldier sent over was killed or injured. Both American and Japanese soldiers would suffer heavy casualties by the time Japan finally surrendered. Another option was to perform more firebombing attacks on Japanese cities. Last March, a single firebombing attack killed 80,000 Japanese, including civilians. Japan did not surrender then, so how many more firebombing attacks would it take? The atom bomb seemed to be the best option. We toyed with the idea of dropping a bomb in an unpopulated area of Japan. No one would get hurt, but it would demonstrate to Japan the power we held against them. This option seemed like the most humane option, but upon further deliberation, it did not appear to be adequate for what we needed. We needed to destroy Japan's ability to make war. Japanese culture did not support fast and easy surrender. We only had 2 atomic bombs. If we detonated one atomic bomb in an unpopulated area and it turned out to be a dud, the Japanese would not be scared into surrender, and the next move would have to be atom bombing a city. If the first one in an unpopulated area worked, but Japan did not surrender, then we would only have one left to drop over a city. There would be no telling if that one would work or not. There was a good chance that it would not, and we would have to send thousands of American troops into battle. Innocent young Americans would have to go to war again. I chose to drop the bomb on Hiroshima. It was not my intent to destroy Japanese culture. It would have been preferred that no civilians lived in Hiroshima or Nagasaki, but there were not military cities that did not contain civilians. We needed to drop the bombs on military factories to destroy Japan's ability to make war, because Japan's fighting spirit does not leave room for surrender until absolutely necessary, as we have seen time after time. I understand that these are based upon theory, but we did not have enough resources to test these theories out. I wish that there had been better options. To those of you saying that dropping the atom bomb was inhumane and unjust, is that not what war is? The entire world suffered long enough, and it was time for the war to end. I stand by my decision and will continue to do what I think is best for our nation.